Welcome fellow learners. In this video, we will explore how to implement function calling functionality using the Llama 3 large language model on our local computers. For those of you who might be unfamiliar with the term function calling, let me explain. Function calling is an additional capability that allows an AI assistant to perform tasks on your behalf, such as sending an email or booking a flight ticket for a specific date. So in this notebook, we will use LangChain and Ollama to implement this function calling using Llama 3 in Python language. So let's first write down what are the different steps that we are going to take in this notebook. In the first step, we are going to import our large language model, which is Llama 3. In the second step, we are going to create some custom tools using LangChain. Once we are having these Llama 3 and custom tools, we will create a prompt which we are going to utilize to implement this function calling. And in the final step, we are going to create a chain using the neighbor sequence from LangChain. And using this chain, we will test out our function calling with Llama 3. So let's jump into the implementation part. To import Llama 3 large language model, we can utilize Ollama. So to import Ollama first, we can import this Ollama from LangChain community.llms. And we can then import this Ollama from here. Once we have imported Ollama in our notebook, it's pretty simple to import this Llama 3 model. To import this Llama 3 model, we can directly pass model name over here. So for this, we can pass Llama 3 as an argument to this Ollama. So like we can pass model equals to Llama 3, and we will be having our Llama 3 large language model with us. So we can test it out. We can pass something LLM dot invoke, and we can pass hi, how are you? So just a simple query to check if we have imported this large language model correctly or not. So if you see, I am using this Ollama. So I will be sharing its link. So how you can install Ollama. I have created another video where you can also see how you can utilize this Ollama to simply get these open source large language model in your local notebook or local computer. So like it varies how much RAM or basically GPU your local computer are having, and based on that you will be having latency, and inference time depends on that. So like you can see, this has given us result like I'm just an AI, so I don't have feelings like human or something. So we can see it's pretty cool. We can now use this large language model to implement function calling. So in the next step, let's write down few custom tools. You might be wondering what are these tools. So tools are basically an interface which helps your AI assistant, AI agent, or simple LLMs to interact with real world. So if I can give you an example, like if we want this Llama 3 model to send an email on behalf of us, then we need to create a tool which facilitates writing those emails and sending those emails. So to implement this in our notebook, we need to first import a tool from tool function from this LangChain. So for that part, we can write LangChain core dot tools, and then we can import a tool function from it. So like if you see its definition, it takes functions and create tools out of it. So that let's first create few simple functions. So we will not be creating a difficult function. We will be basically showcasing few simple functions such that we can see how we can implement this function calling by using Llama 3 and then creating few tools. So let's write down few simple functions like multiply and addition. So we can do something like this. First we can define this multiply function, and we can also use we will be basically multiplying two integers. So let's also write down typing for that. So we can when I say about typing, we need to define like what would be the basically input type and what would be the basically output type. So as we are basically multiplying two integers, input and output type would also be integers. So we can write like this, and then we can also write docstring for this. So like as we are multiplying two integers, so we can just write multiply two integers together, and then we can just simply return this first int into second int. Now we are having this function with us. Then we can create a similar function. Just the difference is that would be a addition function. So let's also write down that, and instead of multiply we can pass plus, and then also we need to change it addition over here. Now we are having both of the function. The one major important thing is we need to write @ tool before each of these functions. So what this would do, it would take these functions and convert them into tool. So just we need to write down this @ tool above these functions, and LangChain will take care of the rest. Next, I am going to utilize a function from LangChain, which is basically render text description, and we will be using that to pass that description of each of these tools in our prompt next. So for that part, we can do something like langchain.tools.render, and from this we can import that render text description. Once we have that, we can basically pass the functions to it. Like we can pass all the tools in this function. Basically, you can see it takes list of tools. So we can pass both multiply and then this addition also. And now we will be having these definition of both of the tools, and we can print it out and see what it basically gives to us. So we can write down like this, and you can see it has given basically definition of each of these functions, what are the typings and what is the description of each of these two tools. So now we are having our tools, we are having our language model Llama 3. Next, create a prompt which we are going to pass to this Llama 3 to implement this function calling. So for that part, let's first import a chat prompt template. We can import a chat prompt template from LangChain core, and we can write something LangChain core.prompts, and then from here we can import our this chat prompt template. So once we have imported that, we can create a prompt first. So let's create a system prompt first. So we can pass something like system, and then we can pass this prompt. So if you see, I have written like you are an assistant that has access to the following tools, and here are the name and description of the tools. So I am passing this render text description. You can see it will basically help our LLM to understand what is basically these tools are getting used for. And after that, I have written like given the user input, return the name and input of the tool to use. So like it will first identify which tool it needs to use, and then return that response in JSON blob and the arguments also. So like if you see, each of these tools are having arguments like first int and second int. So this particular basically prompt will make sure that our LLM returns a response in a JSON format with the name of the function and following with the arguments like first int and the second int. So this is the prompt that I have used. Let's run this cell. So now pass this this system prompt to this chat prompt template, and create a final prompt which we are going to use in our large language model, this Llama 3. So we can write chat prompt template.from messages, and then you can see we can pass a list of these inputs. So the first input would be like system. So we will be passing this input, as I have already created this prompt for the system. We can pass directly this system, and the second input that we are going to pass to it is the input. So for the input part, so input would be basically the user's input. So we need to write user, and then at the runtime we will be basically passing our input to it. So we can write something like this input, and this input will be passed when we are basically invoking our the chain that we are going to create next. So let's create this prompt and assign a variable name to it. So let's run this cell. Now we can print out this prompt, and you can see it has created this prompt, and it has given like input variables will be input, and it has given like there is a system message, which is basically the prompt that we have already created. So now we are having our prompt, we are having our these tools and the large language model. In the next step, let's create a enable sequence, and which will be used to create a chain, and that chain we will be using to test out how this function calling with Llama 3 works. So let's do that. So to create a chain, we will be first using this prompt as an our input, and in the second step we need to pass this prompt to our large language model, which is Llama 3. After passing this prompt to this LLM would give us some response. So as we have asked this LLM to return output in JSON format, so for that part we can use a JSON output parser. So let's import that JSON output parser. To import JSON output parser, we can utilize LangChain core, and from LangChain core dot output parser, we can import JSON output parser, this one. So once we have imported that, we can utilize the JSON output parser directly over here. So we can do something like this. So this is just half part of our chain. So let's first test it out and see how this LLM respond to our query. So let's pass a query. So we can do something chain.invoke, and then we can pass an input to it. So that input would be our query, and our query is like just multiply 3 and 4. So just simple as that. And let's see what result does this gives to us. So like what it does, it will first pass this prompt, basically this input query to our prompt, and that query will be passed over here as an input variable, and then that complete prompt along with input and the system prompt, it will be passed to our language model, and then language model basically gives us the final output. So let's see. So you can see it has given us a JSON output, and this JSON output contains both name and the arguments corresponding to it. So it's great. We can see that it has given the response in a way which we wanted. So now we have got output from language model, but the next thing is we need to basically call those tools like either multiply or basically addition. So that needs to be basically classified on the basis of the name that this language model provides to us. So let's create a function. So let's create a selector function, which basically selects out of these multiply functions. So multiply and addition function. So let's create that, and we will be passing response from the language model to it. So this will be like JSON output response. To call these functions or these tools at the runtime, we can use globals. So on the basis of the name of these tools that this language model has given to us, this globals will basically call that. So for that part, we can basically use keyword, this name keyword from this JSON output, and then after that we can basically pass these arguments to it. So for that part, we can use arguments response, argument key. So we need to pass that in string format. We can just copy that. That would be better. Now, once we are having that, we can just use the return statement, and we will be having this selector function with us. Now, we need to pass this selector function as a next sequence or the next step in our this runnable sequence. So we can just directly write that, and we will be having our complete chain with us. So let's ask the same question again, and let's see how does this gives us output. So if you see, it will first create the same prompt with input variable and then that system prompt, then pass that input to this language model. That language model output would basically call this JSON output parser, and then that would finally call this selector function. So if you see, this has given us the correct output. So like it used multiply keyword, basically multiply response from this LLM and then pass that to this selector function. So let's basically ask different question. This time let's ask addition function. So like we can ask add 3 and 4. So let's see how does this gives us the output. So you can see that like this time it has also given us the correct output, and it has called addition function instead of multiply, and it has basically called that addition tool. So it's great. You can see how we can create this function calling using this Llama 3. So like we are creating a simple chain with multiple tools, and at the runtime this Llama 3 will find out which particular tool or function it needs to call on the basis of the user's query. So I hope you got understanding of how we can create this function calling using Llama 3. You can try it out, and you can use some difficult basically functions, or basically the tools that you want to make this Llama 3 to work on. So like you can create a function which basically showcase you the current weather of some city or state, or you can write a function which basically just create an email template for you. You can try it out with different functions. So it will be pretty fun to you also, and you will be having a lot of understanding about these runnable sequence, these prompts, these you can say tools, how they work and how they gives us the output. So great. Thanks for making till the end of this video. Goodbye until the next time.